This trip was a part of an official delegation invited by Chinese People's Association for Peace and Disarmament, which is for us, for those who are familiar, equivalent of ECAP in Cuba and Simon Bolivar Institute in Venezuela. They are related to the International Department of the Communist Party and also part of the International Foreign Ministry of China. This was a formal invitation, a bilateral meeting between the two organizations. The talk of this visit was going on for a long time between us, but due to restrictions, the COVID restrictions that China had for a long time over the trip to China was delayed, and until it was possible as soon as the gates were open. And we traveled to China in November of 2023. It was a short trip, too short for us, but we learned a lot from it. We visited, first we arrived in Beijing, and we were there for 2 days, and most of our formal discussions were held in Beijing. And then traveled to Shanghai on a bullet train, as Prince mentioned, which was by itself fascinating, to visit the development plans in China and the projects that they are implementing for a future model of urbanization and development, which was in itself fascinating. A lot of our friends spoke about it here, so I will not repeat that. But the main thing that we discussed was, first, we had a kind of a Zoom meeting, joint Zoom meeting from Beijing with some scholars, Chinese scholars in Washington, D.C. That was the first meeting we had, which was about U.S. politics and U.S.-China relations, which was very in-depth analysis of what stands in the future with regard to everything that is going on between China and the United States. Of course, all the speeches were very optimistic that with the policy that China is, following and advancing, ultimately the victory will come with the successful development towards a better new world order. The second part of our discussions, which were actually the most formal part, was the bilateral meeting that we had with the CPAPD leadership. And this was about actually the content of President Xi Jinping's theory of socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. Of course, this was the general topic of the discussion, but we went through all the aspects of Xi Jinping's thoughts, and they explained to us about different aspects. And actually, they gave us a 5-volume book of Xi Jinping's thoughts that we brought with us, which I haven't gotten to read it yet, but we will take time to read all of it. But it's fascinating to have that. But the discussion was a kind of exchange. Of course, comrades from China presented the various aspects of, for example, China's global initiative, security initiative, China's diplomatic approach, China's approach to peace, China's relations with the United States, and all those aspects, each one under different topic, subtopic, and we discussed that and we exchanged. Of course, their presentations was followed by feedback and questions from our side about the issues that were raised. It was very illuminating and informative, and we really got a full grasp of what Chinese approach is to the whole world situation. And it was very educational for us, and it really helped us understand what we need to do here in the United States, in fact. Following that, we, of course, had some visits to the museum that the comrades mentioned about the history of Chinese Communist Party. We had various visitations of different places. In Shanghai, it was mostly about China's development. One of our speakers spoke about the China's Urban Development Center. We spent a lot of time there, and we were informed about various aspects of what it means to have a socialist city. One thing that was very critical, they told us that the way things are designed in these new cities, all the social services for the citizens are within a 10 to 15 minutes walk of wherever you are in the city, which to me and to us was very fascinating, unbelievable that you can design a city of 1 million people with those characteristics. But they are thinking that far in advance about what they are trying to build, and we saw examples of it, and we were humbled by everything that the Chinese are doing. The main thing was our meeting after us towards the end of the trip. That was based on how we can cooperate between the two organizations, and we, of course, both sides recognized the necessity of the Chinese peace organization, work closely with the US peace organizations to implement a peaceful policy for both sides and advance the cause of peace between the United States and China. And for that purpose, we agreed on certain principles and agreements. One, that both organizations agreed to inform the other partner of the latest developments in each country, our analysis of how we see things in our country, and relay that information to the other side. They would do also the same thing for us to keep us updated about the advancements in China and the new developments, and for us to relay this to the public in our own countries. So that is one aspect of it. We both agreed that people-to-people exchanges are critical in this area, and we agreed to organize from both sides delegations, not only delegations of organizations between ourselves, but delegations, public delegations, inviting people, the youth, labor, other professional people to send delegations and have the exchanges of delegations between us so that people become familiar with the realities of China. And one thing that we promised them, they didn't need this kind of promise from, we didn't need that kind of promise from us, was to debunk all of the lies about China in the United States and help overcome that Cold War mentality that the power establishment in the United States is pushing. So with those commitments, we came back, and we are determined to follow up on all of the agreements that we have made with Chinese organization, our sister organization. I should mention that the Chinese are very much interested in dealing with the peace movement, and they showed much of interest in getting involved in the world peace movement. And one aspect of it is that prior to our trip, they had invited a 22 delegation of the leadership of the World Peace Council to China. And after us, they had invited, and it was happening, a delegation of the Vietnam Peace Committee to China. I think the two sides, the Vietnam and the United States, are critical to the Chinese strategy moving forward. And I think they are very, very clear and conscious about the plan and the details of it and steps that are needed to be taken. So we are honored to be a partner with them right now, and we are doing our best to pursue the agreements that we made with Chinese Association for Peace and Disarmament. Thank you very much.
I'm Michael Hudson. I'm appearing here for the International Manifesto Group. If you like this video and ones like it, please subscribe. For more information, go to the address on the screen.